What is up, weather enthusiasts? I'm your host, Pat's Path Predictor. Let's get right into the weather. Alright, so this is what we're looking at right here. We first need to talk about Invest 97L, which still has a 30% chance of development. A tropical wave located several hundred miles west-southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands continues to produce disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Some gradual development of the system is still possible over the next few days. However, environmental conditions are forecast to become less favorable by this weekend. This system is expected to move westward to west-northwestward at 15 to 20 miles per hour across the tropical Atlantic during the next several days. Formation chance in the next 48 hours is 20%, 5 days 30%. So no change since yesterday. If we take a look at the satellite imagery, this convection doesn't look really that much better. I'm going to confidently say this thing isn't really going to develop. It's going to get absorbed by the dry air and wind shear by the time it gets there. I don't think it's going to really develop. If it does, it'll probably develop into a tropical depression, and that's about it. That's my take on it. So with that out of the way, we need to talk about some models real quickly, because the modeling on this has been going absolutely bonkers in the last day or so. Since the NHC basically doubled down on hurricane season being active, it's still been going pretty bonkers. It's been going bonkers for the last few days. And this is the latest from the GFS, and we're going to investigate something real quickly, because something has really caught my eye in the last day or so. And if we take a look at it, I'll show you what I'm talking about. We're going out to about 4 days. Take a look at this. We're looking at some ensembles detecting a low-level pressure system right here, probably from some storms off of Central America, because Central America, it's tropical climate. They usually get a lot of rainstorms and all of that. Well, the GFS is depicting at least one of these, or a cluster of these is going to turn into potentially a tropical low and start moving up the coast of Nicaragua, Honduras, into the Yucatan Peninsula. You'll see what I mean. And if we take a look at this, this is pretty interesting stuff right here, because it is depicting a potential tropical storm hitting Belize or the Yucatan Peninsula, and then once it crosses that, it's going to enter the Gulf of Mexico, rapidly intensify, and then potentially make landfall in Louisiana right here. And this is 10 days out. In fact, the formation of this thing starting at the 0Z is 4 days out. So this is a pretty interesting run. Normally I would dismiss this because this is the GFS, but this is 3.5 days out so far. So I need to pay more attention to it, and I've decided to investigate this a little bit. And is this scenario possible? We'll have to figure this out, because to do that we'll have to cross-check everything. Because if we take a look at the global sea temperatures, they are absolutely there. In fact, I commented on one of Michael O'Malley's video, and here's what I said. I'm actually more alarmed that there's less storms now than there was in years past. I'm actually more alarmed. The reason being is because we see all this warm water. It is pretty much untapped. Like, it's basically like not been used essentially. And we're looking at this giant area of 28 degrees Celsius or more throughout the Atlantic Ocean right here, and that's more than enough for hurricane development. And that's concerning, because if something does happen, it has that chance to rapidly intensify. There's nothing really getting in its way with the warm water. Now we're going to cross-check it with the wind shear. And right now, it's not the most favorable, but it has been weakening over the last day or so. And let me show you what I'm talking about. We'll have to go back about 12 hours to show you this. And this is where it was then. This is where it was. It has spread it into more of this, the Yucatan and all that, on average. It's in the Caribbean. It has been stagnating and starting to weaken a bit. We're down from 40 knots of wind shear on average to about 25 to 30. So if that pattern continues and that wind shear on average starts weakening, it is possible that this happens. Now, the last thing we need to cross-check is the moist air. Okay, that was the wrong thing. I apologize. This is the last thing we need to cross-check, and for that we have to go back to the development itself. And if we take a look at the moisture in the air according to the GFS, there's plenty of moisture that's happening. It's already depicting a low-pressure system that's going to be somewhere in the Western Caribbean right here, which that is pretty interesting. And this moisture continues up, so there's plenty of moisture for this thing to potentially develop. Once it enters the Gulf of Mexico, it's potentially going to encounter some dry air. If we take a look at it, yeah, we could potentially encounter that. So that's what we're looking at. But here's the main problem I have with this. It's only the GFS that's depicting this. And I'll show you what I mean in just a second. Let me just pull up the European at this time real quickly. There we go. And the European doesn't really have anything going on. We have a few ensembles that depict something might happen, but after that, they're not depicting really any development or anything like that. So normally I would dismiss stuff like this. If we're seeing development in the Caribbean, seeing a potential hurricane in the United States afterward, I would normally dismiss this. But the GFS had this 3.5 days out developing, but the European doesn't have anything. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens with this hurricane season. And another thing I want to talk about is that the European, after August 17th, is depicting some development going on in the tropical zone right here. And some of these are potentially powerful tropical storms or hurricanes right here. This is a very interesting situation we're taking a look at. And yeah, the GFS is even more aggressive with this. So let's go ahead and take a look at the GFS. We're looking at pretty much the same stuff. So I think after next week, we're going to be seeing a lot more tropical systems starting to come off the coast of Africa and start developing. Where they'll go from there, it's really too early to tell. I will update you guys as the situation progresses. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. It helps me out and helps me make more videos like these. The goal of this channel is to get more people engaged with weather. But with that being said, have a wonderful day. Stay safe.